What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another chance encounter. Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house. It's going to be torn down soon. I understand that there are power lines that are getting kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building. I'm joined today with Bress. How you doing today, Aaron?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here. And but to be totally honest, I'm even more glad that my very favorite audience member is here today. And why am I so happy that my very favorite audience member is here today? It's because this is a chance encounter where I interview commercial syndicators, investors, and operators. Now, why would I do such a thing? Well, part of it is because it's kind of the law. See, not only do you have to know the other people who are in your industry, but you need to know, are you a complete Yahoo? What's the story with you? You know, are you just getting started? Are you established? What are your core competencies? What are you actually going to do in these deals? So that's what I have to find out, and that's a compliance thing as well. But before we get too excited on how all this stuff works, Aaron, or should I call you Dr. Aaron if you prefer, do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yeah, hey, my name's Aaron. I'm based out in Salt Lake City. I'm a physician out here, neurointerventional doctor that does basically minimally invasive procedures in the brain and spine. And, I was suffering through some burnout, and that's what really brought me to commercial real estate, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
So I've had a long path, we don't have to go through everything. But basically now I'm starting a business that raises capital, helps educate other physicians so that they can tap into this passive income and really start scaling back their hours and enjoy time with their family, vacations, whatever, so that they don't feel the burnout I did.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, and it's really important to have something, whatever you can do best for yourself. That's what you should be doing. And if you want to pivot and be the insider on real estate, I think everybody has to have some exposure to it. But the I have some questions for you, and the first question I have is when I hit this one right here is, but wait, check your eight. Oh yeah, so I don't know if you can see below your camera, the audience below my hand here, they might have a big ugly red subscribe button, and they should really, really get rid of that. Personally, I don't know, maybe it's already the gray button, but let's continue. So the distinct motivations, commercial real estate investors and syndicators, they're in this for some reason, and I need to know what it is. I've found 5 of them are distinct, and in every single chance encounter I go through each of them to find out what combination of them really describes my guess best. So the first motivation for why some people make a commercial acquisition is because they're preserving their purchasing power. And what that means is they've already got a set of assets, a portfolio that pays for their livelihood, basically makes ends meet based off the things that they own. But if inflation rears its ugly head or there's an asset crash, there's a good chance you need to make new acquisitions using your assets as collateral. So that's why some people are picking up these buildings, is to make sure that their purchasing power doesn't get whittled away. But that's not where I'm at personally. What I'm up to, which is very similar to what Aaron just described, is I'm trading my time for wealth. He's a physician, me, I'm in tech. I've owned a CRM agency after working for web.com back, that was like 12 years ago or something like that. And so I've had my own CRM agency since 2011. I got into real estate in 2014, all through that. But the problem with getting a high wage or a high salary is you're paying more tax than anybody else. So it hit me as like, well, how do I pivot using my entrepreneurial skills, my tech skills, and all that kind of stuff in marketing? How do I pivot so that I'm getting rewarded in the form of deployed equity instead of actual cash? So that's what I'm up to. However, A lot of people that when they first, at least when they first come into commercial real estate, they're often trying to fast track retirement, but more accurately, they're trying to take control of their schedule and their time. So maybe that means they want to retire earlier, or maybe it just means they want to work fewer months per year, fewer weeks per month, fewer hours per week, something like that. So that's what they're up to. However, that's in stark contrast to the next two groups, especially this one right here. They're all about the hustle. They want to buy their entire hometown. They want to have that generational wealth to make sure that their great grandchildren never have to hold down a day job. So they're going to be hustling into their 90s. Just like the last group, they've found a sector of society, and maybe it's that, or maybe it's animals, maybe it's the environment, but they want to make a big impact. And the only way to do that is if your financial situation is big and taken care of. So that's why some people are taking care of or making new commercial acquisitions. So Aaron, of those five different motivations, what combination of them do you feel describes you best?
I think the first one that really resonated with me was time for money. I mean, as a doctor, I was working over 100-hour weeks. My job is I'm on call. I have to go in at any time. It's not just 8 to 5. I mean, strokes happen from midnight, 2 in the morning, and what I was realizing was that I was working over 100 hours, and my kids weren't seeing me. I have a 4-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old daughter, and one on the way in actually a week. And they're starting to vocalize like, "Hey, Dad, what's going on? Like, we're missing you," basically.
Right.
And so that really that's a big thing for me personally, trading time for money. And I know a lot of other doctors in my situation have that situation too. So that's
Mhm.
where the passive, like we are talking, the passive income really makes a huge difference.
I love it. I love it. Are there any other special mentions you wanted from the list, or is that your really big one?
Yeah, and also help people who need it. I mean, when you invest in these projects, my goal is to find sponsors that are really trying to help people, find good housing, really help the community, be out there. It's not just the bottom line; it's also to help give back. I think that's a huge thing for when I'm vetting syndicators or operators.
I love it. I love it. And that brings me to my next question, which is about tolerance for risk. My question is, fill in this blank, please. There are many popular investment asset classes, but I think blank is too risky. What do you think is too risky, Aaron?
We were talking about this. This is awesome, man. I would never invest in Greek debt. Don't sell me a Greek bond. I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I definitely respect that because yeah, it's their fiscal responsibility seems to have been lacking over the last 20 odd years, somewhere around there. But it's all real estate, right? And speaking of real estate, if you want to be able to effectively communicate on the subject of commercial real estate, you're going to have to learn how to explain how a deal works and what everybody who's involved in it does. So for that, I've got the Dan Does Deals commercial roll die, which is absolutely free. You can get yours at dandoesdeals.com. And just like a dummy, I didn't even ask for your email address or anything, which you should always do for marketing, okay? But I want you to be able to print this out, show your friends, show your family, get really good at explaining this stuff. And I go through all six sides of the die in every commercial real estate episode here, every chance encounter, and that's so that you get to know how this stuff works. So let's talk about what's a repositioner. A repositioner is a person who looks at a bunch of different properties. They do a bunch of different paperwork. And what are they doing with all that paperwork? There's a fancy word for it. It's they underwrite the deal. That means they do the math. They do the arithmetic. Is this business actually making the amount of money that the seller and the broker claims it is? That's the first thing that they're finding out from the underwriting. The second thing they're doing, and like not everybody uses the term repositioner, but I do to include the fact that these are the guys who are figuring out how do we change this property to get more upside? And the first tool, there are three really that a repositioner has to find more upside. The first one is more advantageous lending. So financiers are banks, people who deal with just paper and money, and they're not involved in a work capacity for taking care of the business. So if a repositioner has better lending, then they've got upside. But let's assume that that's not on there. So the first place that the repositioner is going to look is they're going to try and make more efficient operations. They want fewer of these Benjamins going down the toilet. But of course, there's more to operations than just unclogging toilets and collecting rent, mowing lawns, and fun stuff like that. There's also a marketing component for the leasing agent. Marketing is one of my fortes, and that is going to help to keep the vacancy rate super duper low. But also automations, business systems, that sort of development is another thing that would be part of operations that would be in my wheelhouse. But because commercial real estate is so competitive, operations, more efficient operations, it's probably not enough to get enough upside. So frequently they'll get a contractor team to do a value add, or they'll do those renovations to fix the place up. And then that way, the new tenants will be happy to pay more in rent than the previous ones. So that's why you include them. But whenever you have contractors and operators floating around in the mix, if you're a repositioner like me, who I've got a particular problem, which is I'm from the internet, which means I need a local. I need the boots on the ground. I need somebody who can be there in an hour or two, because you can bet that's not going to be me. I'd still be stuck at the airport in an hour or two. So that's more or less the GP team. And when the repositioner turns around to the financier and says, hey, I got this building, I want to pick it up, it's worth tens of millions of dollars. You don't happen to have, say, tens of millions of dollars you can lend me, do you? Well, the financier is going to want to know one very important piece, which I haven't mentioned, which is, but who's your sponsor KP? Who's your KP? Who's the key partner? What's that all about? Well, Aaron has a few physician friends, and so they could easily pool money together to take over one of these properties. But if you want a commercial loan, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset. And on top of that, and just to be more specific, if you want to buy a 350 unit apartment complex and you want to get a loan, somebody has to already own a 350 unit apartment complex who's in the fold on the GP team. On top of that, you need a certain amount of liquidity. And then also throughout the GP team, the owner team, you need a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan. But if you got all those pieces, you've got yourself a commercial real estate deal. So, Aaron, as far as core competencies go, I imagine you're somewhat of a deal finder. I don't know if you're going to have any local stuff. You're going to be doing investor relationships, so that's a financier piece. So that's what I can fill in on the blanks there. But how would you describe your core competencies as what you're going to contribute?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely investor relations is a big thing. And just, you know, helping out with the finance piece, that's really where my strengths are. Like you said, like I don't have time to manage the asset. I don't have time to bird dog things on the ground like that. So really, my thing is to deal with the investors, help with the marketing, and just and brand awareness is probably another one too.
Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. So then the next question has to do with ideal property. You mentioned Utah earlier. I don't know if you're interested in investing there or elsewhere, but when an investor, a commercial player, turns around to another one and says, hey, what's your buy box, or what's your ideal property, what you're looking for, they're really asking for three main things. First one's geography. Where is it? Which states, which counties, which neighborhoods? They say location, location, location for a reason. So that's the first one. Second one, it's the size of the deal. And we're talking about multifamily most of the time on this show, but any type of commercial real estate will work. And the way that they measure size in multifamily is the unit count. So how many apartments are there? If you're talking about industrial, it'll be square footage. Also like there are a few others that are like that, but you need to know the size. But the third one, which is super duper important, it's class. And unfortunately, they use the same word for two different things, which is something I don't like. But here are the two meanings. First one, it has to do with the condition of the building. So is it old and beat up, or is it brand new and up to date? Is it luxurious, or is it super duper bare bones? Okay, that's the first meaning of class. The second one has to do with where the property is located in. So that would be what's the crime rate like? How are the school districts around that property? And both of them are rated the same way as in grade school. So it would be like A plus, A minus, B plus, C, and so on. So Aaron, as far as you, your group, your people, what's easier to say yes to and more difficult to say no to?
So we definitely like the value add component. So we're looking for a solid B class, maybe higher C class in a good area school district, like you said. We don't want to be in a bad part of town, obviously, but that's kind of what we're looking for, and we'd like to keep it over the 100 door level, because that kind of taps into the economies of scale. If you get under 100 doors, it gets, things don't tend to work out the economics as well. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And then try to be quite frank with you. You know, several of the investments I've done are in Phoenix, Arizona. And so, I'm always open to look at other places, but more of the red states, honestly. They're a little more friendly for like our side of the deal and things like that. And we don't want to have as many rent controls and all those things.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, especially because I think that that's one thing that landlords in general, we've got a real PR problem, and even the way that it's commonly phrased, about like tenant friendly, landlord friendly, I think it skips the most important part, which is, do you own the stuff that you buy? Do you get to make the rules in the stuff that you own? Because if it's not, quote unquote landlord friendly, the answer is no.
Right.
It's you can't raise this, you can't change that, all that sort of stuff. And if you're really concerned about holding your equity, then that's what you got to do. So that's a really awesome answer. And my next question has to do with the people you're looking for. And as a side note, I should let you know that one of the reasons why commercial real estate is so amazing is because you've got this team here, and people are building teams. Everybody's got their swim lane. Everybody's really encouraged to give referrals and references, and but even though we're all so friendly, we still have our own unique skill sets. So we're going to be disproportionately suited to help some people more than others. With my tech and marketing skills, the sponsors and KPs are the people who I always want to talk to, because they're going to be the next level. They have that foundation that will support a guy like me, as opposed to when you're first getting started as a repositioner, you're better off with somebody who's going to be doing like 110, 120 hours a week, just, hustling. But as far as you go, Aaron, and if you have any 506B deals in hand, don't go enticing investors, because you're not allowed to do that. But
That's true.
who are you disproportionately suited to help? Like you could also say like beginners looking to get their sea legs and learn how this stuff works. But who are you really looking for that you could really help?
So as far as the people, you mean in like the investor side or
Yeah,
the
just
actual?
anybody on the die, preferably. Like if you're looking for, like contractor teams, or third party operators who are reliable, sponsors.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely the sponsor. Like I think that's a key thing for like at least my business is to find sponsors that are knowledgeable, know what they're doing, and I can help bring capital to the table. I can help bring, like we were talking before, help the marketing side, talk to investors, and that can take a lot of pressure off some of these sponsors. They can focus on their magic and find the amazing deals, manage the assets, and things like that.
Hmm. Hmm. Beautiful, beautiful. And then the next question, we ended up meeting through a meetup. LinkedIn is a great way to find me. I don't know if there's a website or something that's better, but what's the best way to reach out to you, Aaron?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, Aaron Bress. Just type. There's not many Aaron Bresses in the world, I don't think.
Hmm.
Um, and then just my website, investwithliquidity.com, and that's probably the best way.
All right, beautiful. And then the only other thing that I have left, it's not for you, Aaron, it's for you in the audience, which is that, well, actually, Aaron, you mentioned that, you do the neurology and the stroke things. If you feel like a migraine, like a searing pain through your eyeballs into the back of your head, it's probably because just under my left hand, there's this awful red button, and you should get rid of it immediately. And all you have to do is you just click on it, and then it turns into the gray button of tranquility. The gray button of tranquility is fantastic. I really recommend you check it out, because it has a magical power, which is that YouTube might actually start paying for these videos instead of me. How cool is that, right? But all jokes aside, it costs you nothing. You don't have to put in your email address or anything like that. And all it means is that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions, but you don't have to watch those. I just appreciate the fact that you spent the time with me. Just like Aaron, I appreciate you joining me today and getting to know you a little bit better. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I loved it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay. Are you already logged into 506BME?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506 BME, everybody.